Okay, hello everybody and welcome to sunny Skiathos, a little island to the east of mainland Greece. Echo, hello, Aviation Sim, hello, welcome. We're at stand Alpha 1 and we're having a little look at some new Skiathos scenery while I get set up. And effectively it's a merge between two different types of Skiathos scenery. So we've got the Jason GR Skiathos terminal buildings and a few other bits, and then we've got the original White Leopard Skiathos airport apron overlay as well. Just having a little look at vPilot just to make sure I've got my flight plan and everything ready to go. We used SimBrief, of course, to generate our route today again, and we've imported it directly into the MCD of the aircraft. There's going to be a video going live, I think tomorrow, I believe, short takeoffs again from Skiathos, re-recording some videos that I did at the very start of the channel with some sound quality issues. LGAV for a diversion to Athens, LGZA, LGSK. And for the departure, we're going to be flying the Avico 1 Alpha departure out of Skiathos, which involves using a VOR. And then for the inbound to Zakinthos, we'll be using their VOR inbound as well. It's a flight time of 36 minutes apparently, according to SimBrief, so real nice and short. And it's given me a flight level of 240 on SimBrief at least. I'm just going to have a quick look at the stars. However, arrivals Arak 1 Charlie. And that's at 8,000. We'll do 20,000 feet cruise, just so we get a slightly better view actually, I think, in that case, as we fly over mainland Greece. Yeah, let's do that. Flight level 200. Go for the scenery. Aviation Sim at Kalimera. Good morning in Greek. I suppose actually it's afternoon now, isn't it? QNH is 1020. And what did I say our cruise is going to be? Flight level 200. Our call sign is Olympic Airways 165. And our diversion to Athens, of course, as I've just mentioned. 1020 flight director on. Initial climb for the star, the SID, sorry, is at up to 9,000 feet. There's a strange little stutter then we just had on the screen. I don't know if you guys saw that. I'm just going to get Pushback Express ready to go. A lot of these apps, if you run them as administrator, if the sim is on administrator mode as well, then it tends to be okay for you. Nav on. We've finished doing the fuely bits, so seatbelt signs. Have I done that? No, not yet. They're all on. Let's turn that off. Let's come off external power, because we've got APU bleed. Interestingly, I've actually triggered the outer tank fuel crossfeed somehow. Not really sure how, but I've ended up triggering it. Dale, yep, we'll be doing the VOR into LGZA. Not the radial though, we're going to overfly the airport and then turn based on the VOR itself. So VOR on the way out, tracking Skopilos VOR for the Avico departure out of Skiathos. And then we'll be using VOR2 to track the inbound VOR as we make our way to Zakinthos. Tawny, hello. So, Olympic Airways. Remember these as a kid years and years ago with A300s and things. And you can get that scenery, or you can get the livery for free on the flightsim.to website. It's quite cool. I like it. Where's the old drone cam? The scenery's quite good, although a lot of this stuff is in the way, and I'm not sure if it's supposed to be there, to be honest. For example, this barrier here is completely in the way of the taxiway. So some of this could do with getting tweaked, to be honest. So that could do with being cut in half. The apron itself as well is all a little bit mismatched. It's like the terminal's too far across onto the apron itself. So for that scenery, quite a little bit of work to be done, in my opinion. Let's get that beacon on, and just make sure we fetch that from server. We're on Unicom because there's no Athens radar on at the moment. So there's Adriatic Centre though. That's all on, and we are ready to go. So, zip signs, no smoking, park rate, AP bleed. That crossfeed's still stuck. We're going to leave that like so. Fuel on board 2680. So that's interesting. Seems to be losing fuel very quickly. .3. Believe it or not, started with 4.4 in block fuel. Now we're hemorrhaging, which is a little odd. But I am testing another PR, so it might be that.
Cockpit to ground.
Let's rock and roll.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Not quite sure how we're going to
Parking brakes
push
released.
back with all this in the way, but I'll give it a go. As we start up as well, I'll show you guys the Navigraph charts so that you can see what the departure is going to look like as well. And I've actually got a tutorial of this exact departure going live, I think tomorrow or today, off the top of my head. Although I'm actually, let's have a quick look on my schedule. So tomorrow at 12:30, so on Christmas Day, I've got a dedicated tutorial for this exact departure that we're about to fly. So be sure to check that out. It's a bit of an awkward pushback now with this terminal in the way.
You are cleared behind you. Start your engines at your discretion.
I shall. Let's head into the flight deck, let's power the FADEX. Engine 2 start. Slight delay to us starting the stream because I was testing a different PR and that, interestingly enough, broke. But hey, that's the whole point, isn't it? Testing new things going into the A320neo to see if it works or not. So we're on another PR here, testing some fuel prediction fixes and things. There'll be some new sounds coming as well over the next few days. And I need to work on my video to show you guys how I've gone ahead and created my custom views. A couple of people have asked for that. It's passing runway 19. Now, as I'll point out in the tutorial in the next few days,
Set parking brakes, please.
or in the tutorial tomorrow I should say,
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is cleared. We will see you
for this
on the right
departure,
side.
as we start
Thanks,
engine
you can
1,
disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
we're on Navigraph, and runways LGSK, open charts, SID. So our departure is going to look like this. We're going to depart on runway 19. Actually, what is the wind? 160 at 5 knots. Have I got the correct runway put in? LGSK 19. Good. I'm just showing you guys the wrong chart. So, same principle but the opposite. We're going to take off from runway 19, head south at 2,000 foot, turn left, max 210 knots, and we're going to head back to track that Skiathos VOR that we would use if we were flying into Skiathos, as I showed you guys on a tutorial, I think yesterday or the day before. We're then going to turn left at or above flight level 60 by the time we reach Skiathos, and we're going to come back towards the airfield, turn right on a radial of 269 out from that VOR station to join Avico at flight level 90 at or above. So we're then going to crack on with the rest of our route. Notoriously small runway, and because of the speed constraint, I recommend setting that maximum speed already so it's ready to go. Engine 1 is all done. Let's hide Navigraph for you guys. Let's go ignition mode norm, APU bleed off, master switch off, wing lights on, taxi lights on. So for takeoff, and I'm going to cover this in my tutorial tomorrow that you'll all see, you need to go to the performance page, and I've selected flaps 3 because of the 1,600 meter runway. So we've got our V speeds calculated there, 120, 121 for rotate. William, nice. I hope you got the freeware scenery is particularly good. David, good afternoon. Ian, good afternoon. It's nice to see you guys tuning in again. Now there's a bug on the A320 at the moment where if we select flaps 3 and we've input it here so the aircraft should accept it, it doesn't actually want it. So I can go ahead and show you guys as we start to taxi. So we've got flaps 3 input. Now if I go to takeoff config, we will get a master warning, which is not correct, and we'll get that ECAM memo stick. So the way to fix this current bug is to come back to flaps 2 as I've just done, press takeoff configuration again, you'll get it all green, takeoff config normal, then reselect flaps 3 again. And I'm going to cover all this in my tutorial tomorrow, and then go ahead and check the rest of your bits. When we actually start to take off, although I've noticed I'm actually going towards runway 01. Kanye, hello. Skiathos traffic, Olympic 165, backtrack runway 19 for an Avico 1 departure. So we're on Unicom, we're on VATSIM. Nobody's responded to my announcement there, so that's good. We're going to backtrack down to the end of the runway here. So when we actually go to take off, you guys will see shortly, we're going to get that master warning reappear again because the aircraft still thinks it's not in the correct configuration. So we'll just have to go ahead and cancel that by clicking the master warning icon there. If you're new to the channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button down below, and join me on Discord as well. The bot will pop it into the live chat every now and again. If there's anything you guys want to see, then you can let me know in the content suggestions channel on there. So remember, we're not taking off and turning right to then go straight on our way to Zakinthos. We're going to fly the Avico 1 departure, which actually involves us flying the Skiathos VOR. Turning point right at the end here. That cargo ship's been moved slightly because some people were reporting that it was getting in the way for arrivals on the Jason GR. Scenery. And 1,628 meters exactly this runway, so it's very short. Bearing in mind Gatwick is, I think, near 4,000 meters. So As a reminder, we're going to get the master warning reappear again because the aircraft doesn't think that flaps 3 should be a takeoff configuration, and you'll see what I mean now. There we go. So go ahead and cancel that. We're going to use toga for our departure because of the short runway. We could use flex, but I'm going to use toga today. We need to start the chrono because we don't want to run toga for more than 5 minutes. V1, rotate. Positive rate, up. And we want to track that VOR. Just climb runway heading until 2,000 feet. And the aircraft's going to want to do some weird things, so we need to go ahead and select manual heading select. Got that lever climb mode just appear. Drop it back into the climb gate. And we're passing 2,000 foot. Let's go ahead and make that turn. We want to track that VOR now. I'm going to cover it all tomorrow to help explain it a little better, but effectively we're going to fly towards the tip of the the white arrow, and our course from the VOR after we overfly Skopilos is going to be that blue arrow. And we actually fly the other departure tomorrow, so you guys will see this departure today heading back round and going north to Skopilos. Tomorrow on the Christmas Day tutorial we're going to head back the other way. Just realised the aircraft's doing its silly open climb stuff again. And there is Skiathos down below. Tiny, tiny runway. Tiny island. So back to Skopilos VOR. Skiathos traffic Olympic 165s airborne over the Skopilos VOR. Note that if you guys are going to use this VOR dial over the next few days, it will be changed and it will mask the flight plan, so we won't get any of the flight plan routes visible. So something to bear in mind there. So it means that we have to track that VOR a lot more accurately. Okay, we're at Skopilos. Turning back on ourselves. We want to fly back to Skiathos, as we could see on the charts, as it was telling us to do. And as a reminder for you guys, I'll show you the Navigraph charts again. We're flying this procedure here. There's Skiathos down below. Great scenery. I love the Greek islands being worked on. A lot of progress actually across a lot of the Greek islands for freeware scenery, and it's great to see. Tawny, good question. I don't use anything to help with comms actually. I'll just toggle it on the wheel down below here. I just tend to use that instead. Lovely, that looks like that's going to put us back on the line nicely, which is what we should be getting. There's Skiathos down below. This is interesting. I need to put it into the description, but the scenery that we've seen today is actually two sceneries blended into one, which is very different. So we should be turning right now up to Vico. And we're already 5 minutes into our 30-something minute journey, which is pretty good. So in that sense, I need to obtain the next METAR for LGZA. And we've got winds 330 at 4 knots. So as we fly this, let's have a little look at Navigraph again, because we're going to have to already start considering our arrival. So Arat 1 Charlie. There's no overlay for this, annoyingly, so we have to go to the charts itself. We're going to come in over Araxos here, which is a VOR station that we could use and tune into. And if I'm going to do that, I would use VOR 1 for that, but we're not going to need to necessarily use that today. Just checking the progress, so we can go ahead and accelerate again now. So Arat 1 Charlie, down to 8,000 foot, overflying Zakinthos VOR, actually the Zakinthos DME 326, which we've got tuned in ready as well in our RadNav page. And then, this is where it's not particularly good for this airport on Navigraph. Approaches. We could do the NDB Yankee, but we're going to do the VOR DME runway 34. So link chart, here we go. We're going to come in over Zakinthos from the east, overfly that NDB and that VOR at the airport, and then we're going to head 180 degrees down to 12 DME from Zak VOR. We're then going to make a left turn round on ourselves for that initial fix, 12 DME inbound with a course of 340 degrees for the runway heading, and then that initial approach fix at 7 DME at LGZA for our final approach. Looking at the charts down below as well, we can see that we need to overfly the airport at 5,000 feet, and then before we get to 12 DME we'll have descended down to 3,000 feet. We're then going to turn back on ourselves, and at 12 DME from Zak we're going to descend to 2,200 feet level by LGZA to then make our 3-degree glide slope down to the runway. We've got our ground speed and our descent angle there, so if we're doing 160 knots ground speed, our descent is going to be 850 foot per minute, and our decision heights as well. So MDA would be 800, DH would be 786. And there we go. If you're looking for the final approach course and stuff as well, and the VOR frequencies, they're also at the top of the page, as you can see here. And the airport elevation of 14 foot as well, and that decision height that we need to know, 800 and 786. So let's go ahead and try and put those in the aircraft ready, and you can see if it'll accept it or not. So go ahead over to the approach tab, and we could either do 800 for MDA, which is probably what we will have to put in, or we could try 786 for DH, but it shouldn't accept it because it's out of range as it says, which is what we expect. We're getting close now, so it's telling us we haven't entered our destination information properly yet, so we'll go ahead and get all this in. Transition altitude's 8,000, and from the METAR we got 330 at 04 knots, temperature of 18 degrees Celsius, that's quite a nice temperature for this time of year, and QNH 1021, there's our destination input. There's a few bugs with the mod at the moment, so the VOR DME is actually overlapping the flap speed, as we can see there. That's not too much of an issue for us. Yeah, there are a lot more game crashes, Nathaniel. Yesterday we were flying over LA actually on the way to San Diego, and on our stream actually we had about 5 minutes I think of really solid micro stutters and mini freezes actually, really I suppose is probably the best way to describe it. And we were actually thinking that we might get a crash to desktop at that point. Gladly it didn't happen, but it was a possibility. But I don't think there's really a solution. The only thing I could maybe suggest would be to go through your community folder and see if there's any mods that might be out of date, that might need fixing or updating. Echo, the 787, if that's going to be fixed, then the whole thing needs to be working really. A lot of it's still very, very broken, so I don't fly it, to be honest. Tawny, are you flying into Zakinthos on VATSIM as well yourself then, or? The trickiest part of this really is trying to work out our point of descent, because we know that at Ara we want to be at 8,000 feet. But we also have mountains. So after we get over this ridge, I'll probably start to look at descending down to 8,000. Slow descent, so we go over the mountains, and then allow it to get a little bit steeper further down on the other side. Still no Athens radar. They're fantastic if they're ever online. 208 Caravan, fantastic little aeroplane in the sim actually. Whenever I'm not in the A320, I'm always in the Cessna Caravan because it's great to fly. It's nice, easy, it's smooth, it's got good endurance as well, and it flies nicely, more importantly. So for the RadNav page, just while I'm thinking about it, because I've not yet showed you guys, prior to departure I got all this set up ready to go. The ADF that we can see flashing there is the Skiathos NDB, but it should change soon to Zakinthos. It turns out they share the same frequency apparently. Yeah, so Zakinthos NDB is also 326, oddly enough. The Zakinthos VOR frequency is 110.8, and we've got that programmed into VOR2. So that way we can look at tracking the VOR using VOR2 and the NDB using ADF1. So we've got two options there really. And importantly for us as well, we need to make sure that that course for that VOR for the arrival at Zakinthos is input as well. So that 340 there that you guys can see on the right hand side of the MCDU is our final approach course of 340 degrees for the landing on runway 34 at Zakinthos. And as always with this sort of thing, the descent is down to us. It won't take us that long to get to 8,000 foot from flight level 200 in fairness. Flying over the same mountainous areas that we headed over actually when we did Corfu to Skiathos on our group flight. Kebi Cairo, hello, welcome. Ian, yeah, I thought they had tackled Novias, but if you're saying that there's still an issue, then they are obviously yet to complete that, frustratingly. That's one of the big bugs for me actually in the sim at the moment. That not the inability to select a no via. It's not correct. So flying into Manchester and things, and a lot of other airports around the globe actually, where you don't want to have a via over the airfield, it still forces you in anyway. So if any of you guys ever experience that in the sim yourself, then you'll just have to vector yourself round as best as you can using the charts, because otherwise the sim will try and fly you over the airport in the middle of your arrival route, so it can mess it all up quite a bit. That. Let's get down to 8,000. $50 nautical miles to go, and we're going to want Zakinthos overflying the airport at 5,000 feet. So let's just continue a continuous descent all the way down to 5. Transition level was 8,000, as we gathered earlier from the charts, and the QNH was 1021. So let's just get that ready, put that back into standard. Every now and again I'll have a little look at vPilot just to see if Athens radars come online or anything like that, and it hasn't yet, so we're continuing on Unicom. Dragon's coils, what's a via? So in the sim, when you're inputting a arrival route, as we did earlier for this, VORDME, it'll ask for a via. So there you can see a caddy, it says. If I select no vias, it will just assign one itself, even though I don't want it to. So we have to be careful of that. It's a bug that's in the sim that Asobo haven't yet bothered to fix, but it's quite a big bug, really, especially if you're using VATSIM. When we get to Zakinthos, we're going to be taking a look at the new scenery for Zakinthos as well, which is free to download on flightsim.to, as Skiathos is as well. And the pictures for it look particularly nice. This will be the first time I'm actually arriving in, so I'm not sure what it physically looks like or how it performs in the sim just yet. We're about to find that out. Dragon's Coils, no problem at all. So you can see there we've got 75 miles to go now until Zakinthos, and that's that island directly ahead of us on our 12 o'clock that we can see coming up. Dale's asked if we're going to overfly Kefalonia. And I don't think we're going to be actually. Let's have a quick look. So Kefalonia is over there. We're not flying in over Kefalonia. We're coming in directly over Zakynthos Island. We'll probably depart over Kefalonia actually, thinking about it, because we'll be taking off on runway 34, which will take us straight towards Kefalonia. So we might depart back towards Skiathos over Kefalonia, Dale. John's saying that the RNAV's still tracking off to the runway on a star. That's quite annoying. again, there's problems like that, there's small issues like that that hold the sim back really from it being the best sim out there. Dom, good morning, or good afternoon rather. Let's have a little look at sim brief for a flight plan as we descend 20 miles to Arak. So on the way back we'll take off on runway 34. We'll fly back towards Arak actually, and it's almost a similar route on the way in, but we're actually heading over Patra on the way in, on the way back rather. And again, it's not going to take us, by the looks of it, it's not going to take us over Kefalonia. But I'll have a look at the stars, the SIDS, just to see what it says. Let's start to slow this down because we're going to go under 10,000 foot shortly. And there's clouds, and currently in the sim, if there's clouds, there's ice. It's about 10 minutes to landing now. I'll probably just leave this call sign the same as well for the way back, rather than disconnecting from VATSIM and reconnecting. I'll probably just go ahead and refresh the flight plan. And just want to have a quick look at the actual airfield as Zakinthos. Runway length of 2,228 metres. That's quite short again. Use medium auto brake then for that, I think, to try and come off at Alpha 3. If not, we'll have to turn around at the very end and backtrack. 8 stands for Zakinthos, so similar size to Skiathos airport then actually, by the looks of it. Our Araxos 1 Charlie arrival. So over Araxos, which is what we can see in 12 nautical miles on the nav display. And then we'll fly that VOR manually, that VOR NDB approach to runway 34 manually. Minimums was 800 foot, so we need to make sure that we've got visual at that point. One thing actually that I could show you guys, if we have to go around, if there's bad cloud or whatever else, or there's traffic on the runway, we climb runway heading. It's 6 miles away from the Zakinthos VOR, so 340 degrees all the way up to 6 miles, and you can see at the top here, at 6 miles from Zak, turn right, max 185 knots, proceed to the Vakivit VOR at 3,000 foot, intercept, and then follow the radial to then fly this hold that we can see at the bottom here. So if we have to hold as well, we'll be holding on this part of the VOR arrival. But we're all ready to go really. We're planned and all ready for our approach. There's icing when there shouldn't be on the airframe again, thanks to Asobo not developing the sim properly. Ian, I've not actually been to Zakinthos, I don't think myself. There's the airfield down below. Is that the airfield down below? That's Araxos actually. So coming up later will be Zakinthos. There's Zakinthos Island, and there's Kefalonia. Great views going in. still of course need to work on our custom views so you guys can see how I've made them. The icing really ruins it in this sim. Love the Olympic Airways livery. And there's that second custom view. Let's go to that local QNH. Kanye, Merry Christmas to you too. Everybody's plans have been changed substantially this year. I know mine has, but we've got to make the most of it. Let's check that METAR again. So it's almost an hour old. Scattered clouds at 1,800. Love Greece. Love all the islands. Not been for many years though. Corfu, of course, further up the coast, and that's got some incredibly good freeware scenery for it as well. So I highly recommend digging that one out on flightsim.to and downloading the Corfu freeware. That is exceptionally good. As always with things like this as well, when we start to fly that turn at the end for our final approach, speeds are important, because if we're flying it too quick then our turn is going to be quite wide, so then we could overshoot that centre line. Yeah, I should give Zakinthos a go. I tend to go for like long haul journeys, long haul holidays, more so than anything else. Yeah, my missus wouldn't be too pleased if she wakes up with jets flying overhead. I'd love it, but I don't think she'd enjoy the holiday. Okay, so that ice has apparently melted now because we're getting the ECAM memo. We've got our approach phase ready. Oh, I didn't know that, Ian. I didn't know there was turtles there actually. Oh, the ice is still on the aircraft. Of course it is. So the airfield itself is just the other side of this first ridge that we can see. It's sort of in this bay area, I believe. So we're going to come to where this first hill is. We're going to then turn right, head due south, 180 degrees for that approach. And then that'll be leg one complete. We'll park up on a stand at this freeware scenery that we're checking out for Zakinthos. And we're also then going to look at the new update to the SimBrief import functionality for the A320neo as well, where we can apparently re-import new flight plans over and over and over again. So we're going to test that out as well and see how that works for us. So I've already gone ahead and got the return SimBrief plan generated ready for us. Slightly longer for the way back, 37 minutes flight time. Let's head back into that flight deck as we're getting close. Zakinthos is directly ahead of us. And we know from the charts we want to fly over the VOR. Actually, it's ADF1 for Zakinthos, so we can see that tracking there. And VOR2 for the Zakinthos VOR station. So I'll just jog my memory. We want to come outbound 12 miles. So at 12 DME from Zak, with then left turn. It's down to 3,000. And then down to 2,200 at 7 DME for that final approach with a course of 340 degrees. Zakinthos traffic Olympic 165 A320neo inbound the Zakinthos VOR for the VOR NDB approach runway 34. Quick position and report there. Do Volunteer still fly 717s? So start to slow ourselves down there for that arrival procedure now. What have we got? All the lights and stuff are on. All cool for crew. And we are ready to go almost, so let's go ahead and arm the speed brake. There's the airfield right on the nose. I'm going to use auto brake medium for this. Set the next altitude ready, which is 3,300, and interestingly I've just interrupted that because it's put itself into go around, soft go around mode, which is what I do not want. So let's use some speed brake. That's just hampered our deceleration a little bit. Flaps 1. Let's trigger our heading select. We're going to track the VOR. The green flashing line is the NDB as well, guys, and the blue is the actual VOR with a course for our final approach. We're looking at that figure down at the bottom of the nav display as well, 1.4 at a minute away from Zakinthos. There it is right below. Somebody's on the ground as well to wave us in. Let's turn left, 180. Down to 3,000. So flying due south. If you're tuning in for the first time, please consider clicking that subscribe button down below, and if you're finding the video useful / enjoyable, then please click on that like button as well. Give us a thumbs up. And we're tracking the VOR now until we get the 12 DME, so it'll be 12.0 nautical miles. So Dominic's down on the ground there ready for us, so that was the aircraft we just caught a glimpse of as we made our way in. And we're through the cloud now as well. So Zakinthos all the way off in the distance. And I'm just going to reposition the drone for a bit of a better shot as we make our way in. How are we doing? 4.9. Should be levelling off at 3,000 any second. If anybody else wants to spawn in on VATSIM, connect to the VATSIM network for the return to Skiathos, let me know. And I'm just going to type in our route for the way home. Flaps 2. Let's just have a quick check on the flight deck to see how our progress is. So pretty much coming up to 3,000, which is good. 8 DME now. The green flashing arrows giving us our direction back to that NDB station over Zakinthos. I'm just going to hold it at 150 knots for us there. We can start to slow down for our final approach shortly as well. When we're starting to make that left turn, we're going to begin a descent from 12 DME down to 2,200 foot level by 7 DME on our final approach. And then again, as always, the descent is down to us. 10.3 nautical miles from Zakinthos VOR. Remembering on the charts we want 12 DME to begin the turn. For Zakinthos, if we were flying in via the Akito arrival or via Kefalina VOR, we would be flying the DME arc, a 12 DME arc, all the way around to our final approach. Jesus Christ, happy birthday then for those people in New Zealand that are watching. So let's start our turn now to finals. We are very slow at 150 knots, so we can bear that in mind for the turn because we don't want to turn too tight. As the aircraft has a habit to do so. This is looking at a good rate for us actually here. Pillow pilot, the ICAO code is Lima Golf Zulu Alpha LGZA. So you can see here, as I was mentioning earlier, speed directly relates to how tight we're going to turn. So if we kept turning, we would be particularly tight on that. So we're just going to smooth our turn slightly with smaller increments as we make our way around. If I go to this camera, we should see Zakinthos off in the distance. There it is. Of course, we don't have ILS. The user ID should be in your account settings, I believe, Dom. If not, if you use your username you should be able to input that. So what we're doing at the moment, we're working to make sure that blue line, that blue arrow, lines up nicely. So the blue arrow lines up with the blue line, as if we were flying an ILS, and it would all be aligned nicely. And that's going to tell us that we're on the correct course for our final approach. And it was a heading of exactly 340 degrees, wasn't it? So let's go ahead and click that and bring that down to 2,200. So a lot of multitasking for us here. And I'll go ahead and reduce our speed a bit more. And there's the airport and the runway in the distance there, guys. What I'll do is I'll leave us to fly slightly offset first. Flaps 3. Zakinthos traffic, Olympic 165 at 10 mile finals VOR, runway 34. Lights are on, seatbelt signs are on, flaps are yet to come down to full, and gears going to go down now. Should get our landing checklist appear shortly, and we're also checking, we're going to level off at 2,200 feet, remember guys, until we reach 7 DME, and then that will be our final approach. There we go. That's us lined up nicely with the runway manually ourselves using the VOR. We can make some small adjustments as we make our way in if we need to. Cool, pillow pilots in. Make sure you're connected to VATSIM so we can see each other. And coming back onto that 340 for that runway heading. Remember, in our go around stuff as well, we climb straight ahead and then we turn back on ourselves, so a bit of a figure of 8. That's all good. MDA of 800. We're almost coming up to 7.7 DME now. And what I'll then do, actually, I'll probably fly it in manually myself at 7 miles. Yeah, I have control. Let's fly this in myself, see how well I can do it. All the way in. It's full flaps. So I can see we are slightly left of that, slightly right of the centre line, so I'm just going to make some small adjustments. So we've got gear down, auto brake on medium.
455 is on the ground. Zakynthos with intentions to return to Skiathos. We'll be flying the flight plan now and pushing back in sight. Thanks so much.
Was that one of you guys? Didn't quite understand what they were saying. There's our landing checklist. And there's our wing view as we make our way in. I'm not going to stay here too long because I'm flying this manually now. Autopilot's having a break. How are we doing? There we go. Let's level that slightly. Set our missed approach, which I think was 5,000? 3,000. So that's set, and we've got runway heading of 340. In case we do need to go around, they're both ready to go. We've got 1 red, 3 white, so I'm just making small adjustments to try and bring it down to 2 red, 2 white for us on the Pappies. And we've actually got a 30-degree crosswind component now by the looks of it. 290 degrees at 4 knots for that wind. We should get a 100 above call out soon as well.
100 above.
There we go. And minimum's at 800 foot. We've got runway in sight and we're fairly stable, so we'll continue. There's our minimums. Still got one red, but it looks like we are on a nice profile there, so I'm just going to hold that. We've got, oh there we go, there's 2 red, lovely, so we were pretty much there. Slow our rate a little bit, what do we want, 700, 600 foot per minute, which is what we've got.
300.
This is a nice approach.
100.
Nice.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 5.
And down. So this is all some freeware scenery as well. If it's worked. And there we go, our medium auto brake has got us slowed down nicely to exit the runway there as well. Skiathos ICAO code pillow pilot is LGSK. Oh, you know what we're going to need? APU. Let's turn the landing lights off. And I'll just leave strobes on auto because they'll turn off themselves. There's our gate that the sim has decided that we're going to use. But I'm going to park next to this Olympic plane. Zakinthos traffic Olympic 165 runway vacated. Let's bring our slats and flaps. Let's get a good little view there. Oh, I missed it. Missed the turn as well. I'll park next to where the sim is telling us to go to, so it'll cancel the flight for us. Well, I can't remember if this actually looks like the freeware scenery that it should look like. It doesn't look like AutoGen anyway, so this scenery is free on flightsim.to. There's our marshaller that gets around a lot. There we go. He's parked that fairly well actually as well. So engine 2 off. We're still waiting for that APU. It should be available any second, so we can stop tracking them VORs for now. APU is not available yet. Come on. There we go, APU available. I won't bother with external power. Engine 1 off. Beacon, seatbelt signs, there we go. So that's saved that in the log. Not that it does anything really for us. Now, the MCDU, as it has done, should reset. We've actually got this new thing now saying 10 routes, 10 runways, 20 waypoints, 20 navs stored. I don't know what that's for. I don't know if that is a change on the A320neo that's come in randomly out of nowhere. I know I haven't tested anything like that, or if it's part of the Navigraph data. But this is all wiped. So go MCDU menu, ATSU, AOC, init press, squad hello. We've got Skiathos to Zakinthos. And now we can click this and it data request. Zakinthos to Skiathos. Perfect. That's our fuel 2380. We'll just leave that. I'm going to manually edit that myself shortly. Let's go to init page, init request. Oh yes. Diversion to Athens, Zakynthos to Skiathos. Cruiser flight level 210. So that is all looking quite good actually for us. We'll use flaps 2 for departure here.
Welcome British Av Geek. I'm just next to you, Speed 455. This is Pillar Pilot.
Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. Reset 30%. I'll have a little look at the second. So, Pillar Pilot, are you Olympic or are you British Airways? One of you's Dom, I know that much. Echo, thank you for tuning in. Have a good day. Truth or dare? So, perf page complete. We've got fuel sorted.
Speed 455, so Pillar Pilot is British Airways. I don't really have any other liveries.
Lovely. It's a good livery. 3.2 tons of fuel. I'm going to see if our Pushback Express is going to work. Pushback Express is ready. You know what I need to do actually? Zakinthos. So I'm just going to select on Navigraph some new SIDS and stars. Zakinthos, of course. We want runway 34, and I want to see what departures we've got. Iraq 3 Delta. Iraq 3 Delta, and yeah, that looks pretty good actually. So departure runway 34, Iraq 3 Delta. Insert. Now Zakinthos, this is where we're going to have to be careful on our route, because if I go to plan, we can see where it says Pelit, Bamos, Skopilos, Skiathos. That isn't good for us at all. So let's have a quick look at Navigraph. There's our SIDS, but if I zoom over to Skiathos, that's what it's put in for us for an arrival, which isn't correct. So we actually have, if I click on this eyeglass, we can see the arrival routes that we've actually got available to us. We're going to use that Evic 1 Charlie arrival. Runway 19, Evic 1 Charlie. Say that, but it's not Evico. Add to route. And we want Evic 1 Charlie to approach NDB DME runway 19 via Skopilos, which is that little thing that it's just drawn in for us there. So this is where it gets silly, because now after
is there a controller on Takeoff?
Pelit and Bamos. Negative.
Thanks very much. My flight plan seems to have gone a little crazy, so I think I'll sort of vector myself in for the runway.
Pelit, Bamos. So I need to remove Bamos. Interestingly, there's no Pelit, so I'm not sure where Bamos doesn't want to go. Fantastic. So Ara, and I'm pretty sure now I've just accidentally clicked a waypoint off. So type route J152 to Ixoni. Brilliant. So I'm just going to go direct to Ixoni. I don't even know what ZA is. Okay, so that's our departure. Ara. Good grief, what is this doing today? Ixoni. Skopilos. We've got NDB DME 19. Could do that with SIG F1 Charlie actually. What does that look like for us? Yeah, let's do SIG F1 Charlie. That's something new for me. I've not done that before. Via Skopilos. There we go. So it's probably all very broken for us, but we can give that a go. That looks pretty good.
Yes, yeah, 455, we're about ready for pushback, so if you're ready, just let me know.
Just tweaking a few things, guys, bear with me. Navigraph is really messed up, you can see that here, so if I can delete SIG1F, so I go direct, delete, 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 delete. If I hit save, oh yes, there we go, there's our route. Copy. Quickly update vPilot by switching the two. Departure at 14, 20, 39 minute flight time, cruise altitude of 21,000 feet. File. Fetch. Matty flying. We did use the SimBrief flight plan function, but it's
Olympic 2 Alpha
messed
Mike,
up.
pushing back stand 2.
Yeah, we're getting there, squad. We are getting close to 1,000 subscribers, which is really exciting. Let's go ahead and get our beacon on. We are ready to go. Cool, I'm good to go as well. SIDS.
Right, so 455, pushing back stand 6, ready to go.
Ara 3 Delta, I said, wasn't it? Wow, flight level 160. Jeez. Fine. Flight level 160 it is. An Olympic 165 Zakinthos, pushback and start, stand 6. Please no crash to desktop.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
There's Dom,
Pushing back.
and there's Pillow Pilot. Did I sort the fuel out? Yeah, we got 30%, lovely. Loads. So guys, I've configured for runway 19 on our arrival back to Skiathos. Hey, yeah, squad, hopefully that'll be great. Oh, cheers, Will.
You are cleared behind E. Start your engines at your discretion.
Pretty sure I just heard an aeroplane. Oh, who knows. There's Pillow Pilot. Engine 2 start. Yeah, cool. So Pillow, you're up first. We'll have to hold short of the runway, of course, while you backtrack. Taking off on runway 34. So we've got takeoff speed restrictions, max 210 knots, and a few other things as well for us by the looks of it.
Yeah, that's for 455. Engines are almost started, about ready to go. Give us a sec.
Let's stop the pushback there.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Parking
So we'll
brakes
taxi up
set.
to Pillow.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is
Hold at Alpha
disconnected and
1 while he
the equipment is
departs.
clear. We will see you on the left side with the pin.
Thanks. And
Start
you can
engine 1.
disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
Let's get that on arc mode ready as well. We can turn constraints off. 1021 still the local QNH. Winds 290 at 4 knots now. And he's out the way. He's already disappeared off up there, so let's close Pushback Express.
Right, so 455 is taxiing, going to taxi down runway, backtrack, turn around, runway 324 takeoff, I believe, so 455.
Zakinthos traffic, Olympic 165 at taxiing to hold point Alpha 1 from runway 34. Taxiing on one runway at the moment, on idle whilst the second engine starts. And then we'll watch Pillow Pilot depart. Engine 1's available. Ignition mode norm. AP bleed off and master switch off. That light was already on anyway, good, good.
Zakinthos traffic, Olympic 2 Alpha Mike, feels a bit obvious, but we're in sequence for runway 34. We'll taxi up to Alpha 1.
Let's go flaps 2 ready for departure. Pushback software is FN1 crew, good question. It's Pushback Express by FS2 crew. So there's no hold point down there for us, so we're going to just have to hold position where we are. Some solar panels put in there, that's interesting. And we'll watch Pillow Pilot take off. While we do that, I'm just going to have a quick look at... Well, I'm going to get the charts ready for Skiathos, because after departure we'll pretty much be configuring for our arrival already. That's SIG FO 1 Charlie arrival, and then expecting runway 19. So again, as we departed, we're overflying that Skopilos VOR. We're going to fly in using the Skopilos VOR as well. Flaps 2 for departure because it's a short runway. And Pillar Pilot will be on his way. Runway 34 departing north and then heading back over mainland Greece.
Sure, 455 is ready for departure. Yep, rolling.
So we've got auto brake max, cabin check, spoilers armed, which is thankfully just a button, takeoff configuration check. And Olympic 165, backtrack runway 34. So you'll note this time round we've selected flaps 2 and we're not getting the configuration warning like we do in the flaps 3 config setting. Displace threshold, so we can go ahead and use the takeoff run from down the bottom here. Couple of minutes separation between each aircraft's good because it's a tricky arrival into Skiathos, and most of the time it involves a bit of a runway backtrack as well, so we don't really want that. If we all arrive at the same time it could cause a bit of an issue. And we might have to fly a hold at Skiathos.
Cruiser 455, passing flight level 40, climbing up to cruiser 340, 455.
You know what I did forget? Lights. Whoopsie whoopsie. Just use flex for this. Everyone rotate.
Too low.
Positive
terrain.
breaker up, and we're going to get that GPWS bug
terrain.
again.
Too low. Terrain.
And Olympic 165
low,
airborne,
terrain.
passing 500.
Too low. Terrain.
Olympic 2 Alpha Mike, Zakinthos traffic lining up 34.
Let's reactivate the autopilot. We can bring that rate of descent down as well. We passed that S speed on the PFD, so we can go flaps to 0 now. And de-arm that spoiler. That was an interesting bug though, it put me nose down. That shouldn't have happened. It's even given us that G warning, G load, just appear. Shouldn't have happened. There is a speed constraint here of 210 knots, I believe.
455, passing flight level 70, and I just wanted to let you know your model matchmaking file is working fantastic.
That's good to know, thank you. So let's see our size landing lights, that's all looking good. Let's get a view of Kefalonia through the clouds. I'll catch up on the live chat now, it's got a little bit less busy. David, thank you for tuning in, have a great Christmas. An aviation simulation, yeah, we're flying back. The thumbnail did say, it did say full return flight, I believe. I can't remember now. I thought I'd put that on there anyway. So there's Kefalonia, and we're going to head back over mainland Greece. And there's a couple of things we need to bear in mind for our arrival back into Skiathos. First and foremost, it's going to be runway length, 1,600 metres for takeoff.
Zakinthos traffic, Olympic 2 Alpha Mike, departing runway 34.
However, the usable landing length is just over 1,500 metres.
Crew here. What's your guys' cruising level?
It'll be flight level 210 for myself, Olympic 165. Ooh, wrong button.
Nice, thanks very much for your 455.
So there's that arrow waypoint there. There's a max speed on that turn, interestingly enough, but we'll go direct to Ara. There's our new route. So we need to configure our RadNav page and the arrival page as well, of course, for our return to Skiathos. So again, whatever chart client you guys use, you'll have to check, but for now at least, while I've got it for the next week or so, I've got Navigraph charts, and we can see in the middle of the screen that Skopilos VOR of 113.4. We've already got that in VOR1, as you can see at the top. We're passing 10,000, so let me just quickly turn lights off, seatbelts off, and back to reviewing this. A bit bizarre, randomly got booted off the server on vPilot, but I'm back in. Very odd. What was I doing? So Skopilos 113.4. We got that Skiathos NDB of 326. We can go ahead and put that into ADF2, which we'll use. We can clear ADF1, and let's see if that's all we're going to need to use for now. So I can clear VOR2. We need to know the outbound course from Skopilos. We've got an inbound of 349, as we can see, which will help. But more importantly, we want to know our approach, and we're going to use the NDB DME runway 19 into Skiathos via Skopilos. So let's have a look at the charts for that. There we go. So out from Skopilos at heading of 355 degrees. So in it goes into our course. Head out to 7 DME, max 185 knots, and we're going to make our finals turn. We've got an NDB course of 194 degrees for that runway heading. MDA at the top is 1700, and there's no final approach fix because it is a NDB arrival. It's all completely down to us, this is. So 1,700 foot for the MDA. You can see there we're going to overfly the VOR at 4,000 feet. That's Skopilos VOR. At 3 DME we need to be level at 3,000, and then dropping down to 2,000 foot for our final approach turn. Where it says FQ19 in the middle of your screen now, for this approach, we can see there, we have to be at 1,700 foot, and that's for our final approach. So, let's have a little look at our performance page for our approach. MDA was 1,700. But it's a completely visual approach, which is why it is a very high minimums altitude for us there. And the rest of it we can input using METARs. The transition altitude at Skiathos without any tower or anything is
455 is
interestingly
200, 240, but I was just interested in what your guys' Mach cruising speed is going to be for spacing, as I've just noticed we've got a backtrack, so don't want to get too close.
But at flight level 210 we'll still be on indicated airspeed, so we don't need to worry too much about Mach.
Roger, speed 455.
Ixoni there, look, and then routing to Sigfo. Interestingly though, that looks... At Exoni, I'm going to have to go direct to Sigfo because the sim has made a right mess of my flight plan there, as you can see. That's odd. Always good to know it doesn't work properly. .meta LGSK. So we've got winds 160 at 5 knots. Temperature of 15 degrees. QNH 1020. And that's all ready to go there. Let's leave it on at 80 nautical miles, shall we? Euro East is on, where they don't cover Skiathos. Athens Tower is on, so if we're flying into Athens, that'd be great. Right, let's see. Where's the plane? There it is. Good grief. There's Dominic in the distance. It's catching up. That's probably because I flew quite slowly though initially. And some great views as always. If you're new to the sim and you stick to sort of Cessnas and things, then I highly recommend flying around the Greek islands because that's pretty good. And there's a lot of free airport scenery available as well for a lot of Greek islands. So Corfu, Skiathos, Zakinthos, Heraklion, although that's as fantastic as that is, it is really polygon heavy. So the initial plan today was to do Skiathos to Heraklion and back. But when I loaded up at Heraklion to have a little look, whilst the sim was smooth, when my CPU was then trying to also feed in for a test stream, it went down to like 5 frames per second or something crazy, because the guy's animated people moving about inside the terminal, he's animated the whole terminal interior. It's just too much for the sim, so unfortunately we've had to cancel that plan. We're doing Zakinthos instead. But as with a lot of Greek flights in the sim, the scenery is exceptional, so all good for us. Once we get to Exoni, we're going to then go direct to our arrival waypoint. So SKP and LGSK is not correct. For some reason it's bugged out there again. Sigfo, SKP, SKP twice. What? USR. So at that point, once we hit Sigfo and SKP, we'll be flying it in manually. So all of these bugs that Skiathos has fed in for some bizarre reason won't be an issue for us. So we'll go direct to Sigfo shortly. Won't go it just yet because of the left turn that it's going to give us. But we're at our cruise at flight level 210. And again, there's no control or anything on, and it's down to us to work out our dropped off, interestingly enough, dropped off the V-pilot again there. Odd. Everything's bugging out for me now. But as I was saying, we've got Sigfo, 4,000 foot, and and then up to Skiathos to fly that arrival. So we're going to hit Ixoni now. So let's go Sigfo direct. And we'll start to descend shortly as well. Interestingly, I got disconnected from VPilot as I was loading up the new chart on Navigraph, so that must be gobbling up bandwidth for absolutely no reason. It's just loading up a PDF. Quite odd. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. We're on the road now to 1,000 subscribers as well. When we reach 1,000, we will be hosting another group flight, and we're currently completing a poll on our Discord server to work out where exactly the route is going to be, but it will be on the multiplayer server on Microsoft Flight Simulator for everybody to join in, basically. So be sure to join us for that. All the details will be on our Discord server as well. Let's start to send down to 4,000, shall we? So all our destination data is input. We've got our RadNav page ready to go as well. Ian, fantastic, thank you. Great to hear. We can see Sigfo coming up, and because I've gone direct to, it's actually fixed the bug bizarrely. It's wiped out all of those triplicate waypoints. Although the decel is right on Sigfo, and that's too late. Decel should really be in about 50 nautical miles from now. Usable runway is 1,500 meters for Skiathos. It's a tiny, tiny runway, so it's hard enough departing. If ever you guys are going to fly from, say, Manchester to Skiathos and back, when you're departing out of Skiathos, you're going to be quite heavy. So the tutorial will release tomorrow on Christmas Day for you guys, around about midday. I've got a tutorial covering all of the things that you might want to consider if you're going to take off from a short runway in the A320neo, fly-by-wire A320neo. But for this landing, we'll go medium auto brake, and we might end up using most of the runway, although I hope not. Athens is going to be on our 3 o'clock from our current position. Zanti's great. I've not seen apart from Zakinthos, I've not seen any more scenery for sort of Zanti or anything like that, but it's pretty good. Dominic's getting some turbulence behind. Let's see how close he is actually. I wonder how close he is. Can't see him. Wonder if he's in the clouds. So that said, let me just type onto vpilot.aircraft to see what, make sure he's actually appearing. Oh, he is, yeah, he's there. 22 nautical miles behind. Oh wait, no, 5.4 nautical miles behind actually. Yeah, 5 miles. What's going on here then? Just a wind change. Pillar pilot, you're descending good. We're on our descent as well. Actually, I've started our descent. We've got 50 miles to Sigfo, where we want to be at 4,000 foot, or at least just after Sigfo. We're going to track that VOR1 for Skiathos. and then as we make that final turn we're going to be on ADF2 as well, tracking that NDB, and that's going to give us a rough guidance towards where the airport is. There's no course for the NDB though, so it's very old school. It's in poor visibility especially, it can be quite tricky. Let's go 1500 foot per minute now. 50 miles to Sigfo. Directly ahead of us is Skiathos, just off on the nose where the cursor is. So as a reminder, we're going to come in via Sigfo at the bottom here. We're going to come in across where this red bit of terrain is, onto Sigfo, turning north up to that Skopilos VATSIM with a frequency of 113.4. We're then going to continue to fly north, heading 355 degrees away from the VOR station, and at 7 DME we need to be at 2000 foot. Turning left, heading 194 degrees, and then we'll be on ADF2 tracking the NDB for Skiathos, which is that frequency 326 into ADF2 on the RadNav page, and we'll be flying in. At FQ19, that's star, we want to be at 1700 foot for that manual final approach. But all of it, including that initial outbound from the VOR off the airport on another island, all of it's going to be done manually basically. But these are the ones that I quite enjoy. If you guys give it a go yourselves, let me know how you get on in the comments below after the live stream. And we can go ahead and turn on that Skopilos VOR station as well. 51 miles to that. Flight radar, this it's not the stable, no, we're actually testing a PR. So I'm a QA tester for the fly-by-wire team. And I test a lot of their mods before it ends up going into the master version, that development version. But there shouldn't be too many problems with it. I've not experienced any issues. I've noticed after departure actually when I reactivated the autopilot, there was a little moment where it wanted to pitch down after we've got to thrust acceleration, so some little odd bits of behaviour here, there, and they appear more random than anything else though for us. 1400 foot per minute, 35 nautical miles to go, 4000 foot, that should be quite good. Some amazing scenery. If there's any other routes that you guys want to see, then as always just let me know on our Discord server. I've had a couple of requests actually, including Singapore, so I'll be looking to do that over the next few weeks. And I'm just going to quickly jot down on my piece of paper, so Skopilos 355 7 DME round down to 1600. (194 degrees) NDB, inbound runway 19. Missed approach altitude 1700 foot MDA, so that's on my piece of paper as well, and that way I don't have to worry about Navigraph now. I can bring up the taxi charts at the airport at Skiathos actually, and that will be all I'm going to need now for this. Yeah, the development version tends to work the best, guys. The stable version gets released and that obviously stays the same for quite some time until everything else in the development version reaches the next milestone, and then it will all become the next stable. I only ever used the development version and branches off from it as well. The PRs are branches of the master development version with updates, changes and tweaks. FlightRa, I would love to do an A320 group flight on VATSIM actually. That would be fantastic, but it all depends on people's ability, I guess. I don't want to pressure people into using VATSIM if they're not quite comfortable with using it. Dom is apparently right next to us somewhere, so let's have a little scout about, see if I can see him. Yeah, Ian, I've been getting quite a lot of random spikes and things on the terrain, oddly enough. That's odd. I can't see you anywhere, Dom. Unless you've overtaken. If you've overtaken, that's fine. You crack on, then I'll fly the hold if need be. $20 miles to Sigfo. Got a nice rate of descent here actually. There's Skiathos, that small island there on our 10 o'clock, and on our 11 o'clock is Skiathos, which has got the VOR station on it. Yeah, we could fill Manchester with all of us, that would be fantastic actually, it would be quite cool. So I should be able to see both of you actually, interestingly enough I can't. Pillow Pilot's entering the arrival pattern, so he's already over there somewhere. There's Skiathos Airport in the distance, we can just see the arrival lights for runway 01. I'm going to be really annoying here actually. I'm going to disconnect from VPilot completely. I'm going to reconnect to VPilot because I can't see you guys. So I'm going to reconnect now. And then I'm going to pull my new flight plan. And now I should be able to see you a bit better. Wherever you guys might be. 240 knots, so we're below 10,000, aren't we? Getting sidetracked. Seatbelt signs, landing lights. Got no icing issues. We want medium auto brake, and we want ground spoilers armed. Performance page, let's activate approach phase. But I'm going to want to try and keep a bit of speed up to help Dominic out behind. Pillow Pilot's quite good distance actually for separation.
Skiathos traffic, Olympic 2 Alpha Mike. We'll enter the hold at Skopilos at or above 6,000. I can see you off on my right there, Avgeek. You just go straight in.
Can't see you anywhere. Roger, Olympic 165 10 track miles from Sigfo for the Sigfo arrival, runway 19.
Yep, Skiathos 455 has just passed over the Skiathos, or that SKT holding point. Yeah, down at 3,000 feet now, entering the, turning on space in a second.
Definitely can't see Dom anywhere. Best time of day to fly in the sim is this sort of time of day in Greece. You get that sunset creeping in. Pillow Pilot's up here somewhere, though he's out of range for us, so it probably won't be displayed. Speed wise, we don't want to blast round this arrival route too quickly because it's going to cause us some issues. $5 miles to Sigfo almost. We've got all of this set up ready to go. We've got the NDB DME 19.
Skiathos 455 is turning base now.
Dom, at least you can see me, I guess. This is where TCAS would be fantastic. William, oh dear. So we are briefed, we are ready to fly this arrival. We've done it quite a few times now on the channel, for those of you who are tuning regularly, as you know. If you are new, click that subscribe button down below, and make sure you have a little look through the live chat to find the link to the Discord server from the bots. Approaching 4,000 foot now. It's nicely timed actually for SIGFO, as you can see. So that's looking good. Overfly Skopilos at 4,000. And then heading 355 degrees over the VOR. As usual, the aircraft's leaving it to the last minute to turn, so I'm going to go and activate that turn now myself. And to get to the VOR, we want to fly the yellow line. We go ahead and aim.
455 is aligned with the VOR turning final.
Arm ADF2. This is Skopilos, so we're going to reach first. Let's check I've got this correct. So Skiathos on ADF2 and Skopilos on VOR1. Performance page, the approach speed of 124 and landing speed of 129. So put that back on managed heading for the time being. It's going to fly up to Skopilos, and then we're going to fly that course of 355 degrees. We'll know we're over Skopilos because as we get closer, not that the aircraft is flying it particularly well, that blue line will start to cross over, so that we'll know we're centre. The aircraft's not flying it well at all, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust it myself. That'll do. So we're flying that SIGFO line. Dominic's over here somewhere through the sunset. Don't know where. Very shortly we're going to go to our finals. Select flaps 1. That'll be the slats coming forward. We can just about see that on the leading edge of the wing in this view. And Dom is 7.2 miles away. Pillow Pilot is 10.7 miles away. So we've got some good spacing between us actually. The beauty of landing on runway 19 as well is we're actually gonna reach the apron and potentially be able to slow down, taxi straight off without needing a backtrack. If it was 02 or 01, which is northern runway, very often, pretty much all the time actually, we overshoot the apron and we have to backtrack, so that slows down arrivals.
455 is on the ground.
So Pillar Pilot's done, he's off, and we'll be next. How are we doing on that Skopilos VOR? Pretty much over it. It's pretty much where this sort of pier here is. That's where the VOR station is, around this sort of part of the island. And it's an odd one because it is a VOR station that's on a completely different island, so the procedures can be a little bit different.
Yes, speed was 455, sorry, bit of a slow stopping distance, so having to make a quick backtrack back.
Oh dear, Dom's crashed a desktop. That's not good. RIP. We're at transition altitude of 4,000 as well, so let's go ahead and select local QNH. And this is looking good. You can see now that blue line's coming in, so it shows we're about to overfly the VOR, and we want the outbound course of 355. So you can see here, if we left it on what the aircraft for the sim is, what the sim is wanting us to do, we're going to fly a different flight path. We don't want that. We're getting all sorts of readings really. It's going off some random direction.
Speedbird 455 exiting Alpha 3 on the ramp.
So we are. We're passing that VOR now because the arrow, the white arrow's switched. So we know we've literally just overflown that.
Just so you know, have visual on you. Have a nice approach.
Cheers at Skiathos traffic. Olympic 165's overflying Skopilos inbound on the VOR NDB approach, runway 19. Down to 2000. Let's go flaps 2. That's going to help us drain some speed off as we make our way down, and we wanted that 7 DME before we commit to that left turn, and then we're going to want 1,600 foot. So we go ahead and we click the bezel. As you can see that white arrow moving between 1,000 and 100. Yeah. You know what? It's a great point. I'm gonna. How's that? That's a bit better. $10 miles on the nav display. We've got 4 miles there on that VOR track. So DME is distance measuring equipment, and it's basically just telling us our distance from whatever we're tuned into. So in this case, it's that Skopilos VOR. The green flashing arrow is our NDB. When we get to 7, we want to be turning left for our final approach. And then we'll go down to 1,600 feet for our final approach. Minimums, of course, is 1,700. So something to bear in mind. We're going to land perfect timing there with sunset by the looks of it. 6.3 miles. Seven. Inbound for the turn. Skiathos traffic, Olympic 165 turning base. Let's go gear down early. There's the runway dead ahead. And we want to just, I'm manually tweaking the turn as we go because I don't want to have the aircraft bank too sharply.
Minimum.
At these speeds it tends to drop us down to a really tight turn, which we don't want.
455, engines are off and we're having a nice sit on the ramp. Just to inform you, there's no external power, of course, so APU might need to go on.
Cheers. So turn the VOR off, but we're still going to have that course line appear. We're turning for our finals now. Skiathos traffic, Olympic 165, finals runway 19. Not quite in line, so let's make an adjustment. The earlier the better for this, of course. Runway heading at 194 degrees. Let's go full flaps. We can get rid of the flashing lights a bit because we know now where the airport is. Manual control, off control. And we're going to hold 1,600 foot until we start to get a reaction off the PAPI lights dead ahead of us there. There's one white. So we can start to slowly bring the nose down. We're on about 600 foot per minute again for this. Quick correction there for our course. Got 500 foot per minute, 600 foot per minute. That's going to do us nicely, I think. At least initially until we get two white. Yeah, Dom, you had a crash to desktop yesterday as well, didn't you? Which is, I mean, I'd be absolutely raging if that was me. Let's set our missed approach altitude back to 4,000, I believe. That's ready to go, and we've got runway heading 194 set. There's our second white. Got a ground speed of 122, so we're going to go for a forgot what I was saying there. I'm not quite sure why Streamlabs is doing its own thing there. And now looking at the live chat, I'm coming off the centre line a little bit. That ship is in a really frustrating way, in a bad position, isn't it? There we go, making quite a severe correction there, but hey ho. It's like the ship's moving almost. I don't know really what it's doing. It's like sliding about. Right, this is looking nice. 600 foot per minute descent still. Medium auto brake. Our checklist is looking good. Bringing it to 800 foot per minute now to bring that glide slope back with 2 red, 2 white. Dominic, yeah. Delete Rex and try again, because I know Unreal Weather bugs out and causes crashes if it doesn't work with an update. Slight 4 knot crosswind. Oddly enough, it's enough to be blowing us off our track. Down. There's Pillow Pilot, the BA Airbus sat waiting for us. We're going to miss that turn off, so we're going to have to backtrack, I think. Couldn't have gone that any slower. Oddly enough, I can't allow that either. I'm trying to. Ashish, hello, great to see you tuning in again. It's been a while, hope you're well. One Big Flappy Boy, hello. Merry Christmas to you too. We're going to have to backtrack. Bring those flaps up. Cheers, William. Yeah, we've done a flight out to Zakinthos, and we've turned around and we've come back to Skiathos. That's odd. Is that a bug? Not quite sure. turn auto throttle off, and we want APU on. Sheesh, I'm very, very well, thank you. Last live stream before Christmas, of course. So we're visiting the fantastic Greek islands. Skiathos traffic, Olympic 165's clear of runway 19, taxi distance. Exactly, Dom, thank you. So I can't park next to Pillow Pilot because the scenery that I've got, it looks great, but it's in the way of all the stands, bizarrely, so I'm going to have to go to Alpha 1. So everything's sort of in the way with this scenery, so I might remove it and go with just the White Leopard on its own, the White Leopard Skiathos scenery on its own. There's Pillow Pilot, thanks for flying with us on the return journey. Everything's in the way with this scenery, I could barely just about make that pole to then be able to turn into Alpha 1. The sim wants me to go to number 2 there, look. So in fact, a word of one point that's good to make actually, I'll taxi over to this
Thanks
one.
very much for your 455. Lovely to fly with you. Hope you fly again with you soon.
Yeah, likewise, thank you very much. See you soon, have a good Christmas.
Yeah, you too. Merry Christmas. See you soon.
So with the logbook, for the sim, a lot of the time it doesn't
and
track.
hope you get to that 1,000 dubs for your 455. Bye bye.
Cheers, have a good one. So if you taxi up and you see a marshaller, the tugs and all this sort of stuff on the gates, that's where the sim has basically decided that you should park. And when you do, it will then turn the lights off for him. It will then save it to your logbook. There we go, on the line, nicely. Engine 2 off. That's reset itself as well, which we can see there, which is good. Engine 1's coming off as well now. Seatbelts. Oh, there we go. So there we go, it's just saved the logbook again for that flight. Interestingly enough. Now if I go back onto Pushback Express here, I should be able to trigger all of these pre-flight events again. Yeah, very true. It is a fantastic piece of scenery, but a lot of it does get in the way. Let's trigger baggage, catering, and steps on Pushback Express. FS2 crew have got a winter sale on at the moment. They've got 30% off currently, so I think it is Winter 2020, I think their code is. So if you want to get a really good pushback mod, albeit payware, then this is definitely the one to get. And the Skiathos scenery, of course, is free to use on flightsim.to. There's actually 2 sceneries merged into one with this, 3 sceneries merged into one with this, but it is a nice little piece of scenery. It's just a shame the stands there get in the way quite a bit. But that's going to be all for today. Quite a short stream. Let's close Navigraph. Hope you've all enjoyed it anyway. It's certainly been a nice arrival into Skiathos with sunset and some great scenery as always. Thanks to Dom, thanks to Pillow Pilot for tuning in and flying with us as well on VATSIM. When we get to 1,000 subscribers as well, be sure to be on our Discord server for details of our group flight that we're going to fly on the Microsoft Flight Simulator multiplayer servers. Hope you all have a great Christmas tomorrow. Be sure to check out the channel. I've got a tutorial releasing tomorrow around about midday as well. Pretty much doing the departure from Skiathos we did at the start of this trip. Matthew, yeah, unfortunately missed today's live stream. There will be another one at some point over the next few days. thanks for the good comments at the landing, and see you all again soon for another live stream after Christmas.